Hello everyone, welcome to this next recording, which follows on from my last one that, I don't really know the topics or the topic title of what it'd be called yet, but I finished off talking to you about minerals, literally 60 seconds ago. I've just pressed stop and start again. But welcome, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're well. I'm just going to talk, and actually I'm going to make this one quick, right? Hold me to that. In fact, we'll go back over to Alexa. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Starting now. So, the point of the last podcast was supposed to be about fat loss not being sexy in the sense of, especially on an aggressive diet, the variety of meals that you can have, the difference in calories, this, that, and the other. It's more the longitudinal thing that we can get interested in, perhaps the multiphasic or having different facets of your diet. But realistically, the multiphasic and the multifaceted is tied in with some of the physiology, but also the mindset, which is what I want to talk about. It's your mindset to how you approach the diet that potentially, or not even potentially, certainly is a game changer in the success of it, in the sustainability of it, short and long term, and therefore the maintenance of your goal when you get there, and increasing the likelihood of you getting there. I spoke in the last podcast about an aggressive fat loss phase. It's not sustainable, but it's sustainable for a period of time. Some of you long-time followers who read and listen to a lot of my work will have heard the quote I said, where diet on as few calories as you can realistically maintain to get to your goal. I think that's it. And there's a lot to talk about within that phrase, because this multifaceted dieting is and the mindset is you don't have to stick to the same number of calories every day. Your calorie deficit doesn't need to be the same size every day. You don't have to be in a deficit every day. And you don't have to demonize any foods. Unconditional permission to eat anything does not mean unconditional permission to eat everything. That's different. You do, it's your life. But with regards to this, during my aggressive phase, my maintenance phases, my surplus days, my whatever days, my moderate calorie deficit days, I can choose to eat any food I wish. Part one of unconditional permission to eat anything. But you also have unconditional permission to eat, except it doesn't need to have such a grand name. It's just having true dietary flexibility. Seeing what's in my shopping bags. Very bland food, not sexy. However, seeing the small adaptations I make based on my day, based on my goal, based on what's come before, based on what I want to happen next, is where the intricacies and the sexiness lies. Changing your nutrition based on your mentality. If I told you that the evidence-based definition around normal eating is eating when you're lonely. Normal eating is eating for comfort, for pleasure. Doesn't sound normal to you, does it? Now, anyone who's been challenged by that, don't bite back. You're not going to be more right than me. Maybe you are. But you're not unless you're incredibly well-read in the area. I'm not saying that flippantly. I'm saying that based on an extremely educated opinion. Sorry for anyone that grates that I've called myself extremely educated. I am. Get over it. That's another podcast episode about judgment and projecting our own feelings on other people, and etc. But I don't say these things flippantly. So any podcast I do, when I say something, don't go, well, that's not right, that's wrong. Go and question why. Why has he said that? I didn't know that, which is probably the main thing most people should say. I didn't know that, if you disagree with me. There can be different interpretations, of course, but unless you're one of my esteemed peers, it's probably not going to be the case. But yes, eating when you're lonely is part of the definition of normal eating. It's a challenging statement, I know that. So your mentality around food, it's super duper important. I have a couple of quotes that are used quite often by people. One is, if you're never on a plan, you can never be off a plan. This is why the best diet is multiphasic and multifaceted. The best diet is one that is entirely flexible. Flexible dieting is not just, I can have ice cream on my diet. Flexible dieting is having the unconditional permission to change the size of the calorie deficit, ergo the speed of the diet. It's to do something that was not currently planned in your mind without freaking out. This is what undermines people. I had one of those, my diet's over, crash. Eat everything. Get back on the wagon tomorrow. That's another one. I've actually got this written on my one of my what's it called? Canva. It's like a image creating software thingy online. Something about, if you keep falling off the wagon, maybe it's not you, maybe it's the wagon that's the issue. Something like that. If you keep falling off the wagon, if you keep having to get back up, maybe you shouldn't be on that wagon. Don't be on a wagon. Be on your own path. If someone, they're not going to, because I'm currently in the UK lockdown of November 2020. But if someone was to invite me to a social occasion, I have options. I don't have to become unsociable, which starts to become disordered when it starts to impact what is a huge part of humanity, which is socializing and being social and having deep, meaningful relationships where you talk to people and spend time with people and eat with people. So the mentality side of this, I've only given myself 15 minutes to record this because I wanted it to be a short episode and I wanted to try and keep myself on topic with that deadline, and I want to go and train. But I will obviously record so much more. So questions, send them in, fill in my suggestion form for the podcast. If you love this episode, go and leave a review on the podcast, mention this episode, give me the whole Pavlov thing. Reinforcing through positive reinforcement. But it's this mentality. If you need to go in a surplus because you're going and you want to eat a boatload of wedding cake or birthday cake, say boatload, as much as you want, unconditional permission. With an understanding, if you start eating out of guilt, if you start eating because you are sad and then it makes you sadder afterwards, that is where it's becomes disordered. Not an eating disorder, but disordered patterns of eating. You eat because you're lonely and then you feel worse because you ate. If you eat and you're like, oh, that was nice. I had a really flipping bad day a couple of days ago. And I was on my aggressive diet, and I had microwaved a meal that had a load of gnocchi and a really nice sauce and everything, and I just took the chicken out, the herby chicken. It was super tasty, prep kitchen meal. And I ate the chicken, I had some soup with it and some veg, and then I was just feeling crap, and I was on my own for a long evening. I just went and ate the gnocchi, And it was absolutely flipping lovely. I love gnocchi, by the way. If anyone ever wants to take me on a date, like where you cook me dinner, don't take me out, cook me dinner, make me gnocchi well, and I'm yours. No, so there's something about gnocchi, isn't there? It's something else. It really is something else, and I felt better. If I'd had that and maybe it had been in a bad mindset and uncontrollable eating, etc., not good. If I'd felt guilt for eating it. And if you ever feel guilt for eating something, you need to dial everything back and go into that, dig into that feeling, dig into the mindset of around that. You will just undermine everything that goes after if you don't just dial things back, dig in. This is why I don't like people who give them exact end dates. With the flexibility of a diet is it doesn't have an end. You're not striving for that date. Give yourself goals. Not having any goal or any end or any plan is highly likely, based on the theories we have around goal setting and the research we have around goal setting, is not a good idea. But having a date where you must achieve X by, not a good idea, because it reduces flexibility. Being able to go, you know what, I'm feeling really rubbish in the gym and I love my training and that's doing it. You can have a 1 day carb update. You can have a 3 day aggressive refeed. Absolutely fantastic. There's some physiological benefits. It's super interesting to do. You can eat so much of certain types of food. I'm going to this social event. You know what? I want to eat more food. I want to get more dietary fiber variety in my diet. I want to eat these foods, etc. I can't fit them in. For me, I will forego some protein for some carrots and caramelized onion hummus because I flipping love it. It's just me. I flipping love it. And it's not like it's a disordered thing of like, oh, that's my food. And it's like, oh, I understand that it's not cake. I'm not a big cake eater. But I understand it's not squashies or Haribo. But it's those things. When I want some squashies, when I want some Haribo, when I want whatever other favourite foods, some pizza, I'll have those. Because I have unconditional permission to eat those at any time. And whilst I'm in this fat loss phase, sometimes you make the choices that are going to make you feel better because I'm really enjoying the endeavour of what I'm doing. I really love those trainers, but they hurt my feet when I'm training for my marathon. So I wear the trainers I don't like as much. And I know they don't hurt my feet. I have a current goal of wanting to lose body fat because it's what I like doing as part of my sport, even though I don't compete in anything anymore. So I choose to eat more satiating foods that are allowing me to get to my goals. Some of I will record some stuff on this at some point, but the whole health at every size movement people, the non-diet movement people, the intuitive eating people, which all three of those things are fantastic, but it's probably non-diet is the one that I might use regularly to discuss their lack of being evidence-based and their lack of insight, and maybe how, because they're a bit more into social justice, a lot of them have maybe suffered sadly with eating disorders, have maybe suffered at the hands of very bad practitioners and big voices with the industry, but they unfortunately aren't very good at science, or I was going to get this on a t-shirt. If you would buy this t-shirt just because it'd be quite cool. I mean, I'm not going to make any money from it. We sell everything in our shops at cost. But, merch stuff. But your bias is making you stupid. And, purposely provocative because, that's my personality. To just, I'm not vanilla, let's be honest, in any way. And so it is this thing that, you could say that nicely and then no one listens to you and it's boring. And then you don't make any change. If you've got something profound and important to say, you can't always just be vanilla and nicey. And unfortunately, these people are, making claims how any calorie counting will give you an eating disorder, or no diets work. They fail, or even something about all diets are harmful. I saw once, or comparing mood stones. I'm going to do a post about that, mood stones to BMI. Sheesh, I won't go there. This is a long 15 minutes. Is she too busy listening? She's forgot to... Are you watching the clock? Yeah, she's just seen it. Was that 15 minutes? I don't think that was 15 minutes. Alexa, stop. Okay, so this mindset, I will record more on this because it's so important. It is, an entire topic in itself that needs so much unpacking for you guys so that you get it. I feel like that's what my content is about at the minute. It's so that people get it. You've got to get dieting on a higher level so that you don't just keep throwing yourself back into silly plans and etc. You need to get it. You need to know how to change, be adaptable, periodize your fat loss into these different phases and truly understanding. You can't just tell yourself, oh yeah, that's, yeah, I won't guilt myself. Yeah, I've got unconditional permission to eat. And then you still feel guilty when you eat certain foods. I feel like, again, some of when I talk, people hopefully get aha moments and it molds. And if you ponder and reflect on what I say, it will truly help you. You go, oh my goodness, I've never thought about it that way. You've never thought, do you know what? I just go low carb. I don't have to be low carb every day. Unless, if you're doing a ketogenic diet specifically for something like controlling epilepsy, you do. You can't just hop in and out. But if you're just dieting, it doesn't matter. The calorie deficit dictates, almost everything. The ratio of carbs to fat is irrelevant. As long as you've got enough carbohydrates to fuel whatever high intensity exercise you might do, I don't do any, then it doesn't matter. Enough protein to retain muscle, if that's your goal. Enough protein to build muscle, if that's your goal. So you just start realizing, geez, I don't have to be just low carb or low fat. I don't have to be just 6 meals a day. I don't have to be just an intermittent faster. You can do these different facets can happen all the time within a day. You can have a low carb meal, then you can have a low fat meal. You can do an aggressive diet one day, a less aggressive diet. You can undulate throughout the week. All of this stuff, once you truly understand it, dieting becomes a lot easier if you start the diet in the right place. And that will be a whole new topic of relationship with food and stuff around guilt and forgiving yourself and not beating yourself up and dealing with other trauma within your life, etc. Anyway, I really hope that you get some benefit out of this, and I will speak to you again soon. Much love.